Hi, I'm Oscar again, and I'm going to talk about concluding remarks, specifically the synthesis of our main points. Overall, we as a group received very positive feedback from both our peers and the instructor. We definitely received suggestions to improve our lesson and enhance the linguistic skills, reading and writing, speaking and listening, as well as our cultural skill. We understand that students have different learning styles, and therefore, we think that one thing that could be beneficial is to create a survey for students prior to the asynchronous lesson in order to hear students' interests and opinions about the topic to cover and the way that they would like the lesson to be conducted. Considering the students' preferences and needs is a very important part of the student's learning and definitely makes a big difference when it comes to evaluating how successful a lesson could be, whether it is synchronous or asynchronous. We can say that we learned about time management, useful technological materials and resources available to us, lesson planning, and lesson designing. We also became much more knowledgeable about students' needs, especially seventh graders, and their current situations at home. We have more expertise on how to create videos and how to upload them to YouTube while making the necessary editing for these videos to be enjoyable and fun. We found ways to still connect with the students while teaching content and enhancing students' linguistic skills and cultural skills. Regarding weaknesses and difficulties in our asynchronous lesson, we might say that we had to rethink some of our exercises proposed to Professor Veronica in our lesson plan in order to make sure that the learning outcomes were achievable and had the appropriate timing for them to be completed successfully by the students. Lesson plans are a never ending job and they require constant feedback and modification. Therefore, we were extremely grateful with the feedback given to us and we took the necessary measures and actions to change it whenever necessary. We also experienced some difficulty trying to come to agreements as a group as to what our lessons should be under what format, what methodologies, platforms, and the development of the activities and materials. We used this difficulty and turned it into something positive, in which we learned from each other as colleagues and became tolerant of each other's opinions and ways of working. We definitely became a really good team. When it comes to improvements in our lesson, we noticed that there was a 20% of students who marked the lesson as boring, which wasn't our intention at all. We, in fact, devoted extra time of our own to make sure this was prevented. However, we're conscious that not everyone might find the methods and activities as dynamic as we thought they were, and everyone has their own learning styles and preferences. Nevertheless, this feedback was valuable, and we think that we could make use of other educational games available to us that are user friendly and very entertaining. Reptivity is one of them, and we think that it could be a good idea to use it in our future asynchronous lessons, particularly to develop the reading skill. The lesson plan had to undergo a few modifications regarding timing for texts and videos to avoid any confusions. In addition, we think that having better ways to be in touch with students could avoid their dissatisfaction when it came to answering their doubts and questions. And lastly, we as current and future teachers had the opportunity to reflect upon our current situation with the coronavirus and how important technology is in this type of situation. Just as we reflected on that, we also became more aware about the fact that students nowadays experience difficulties with internet access and internet connection, as well as lack of access regarding technological resources available to them. These factors could make students drop out, and some of them might not be able to participate and continue their education as normal. They also might experience failing the courses. Our government and the Ministry of Education have been working very hard in order to find easy and feasible solutions to students and teachers, such as GTAs or self guides that students are required to complete to acquire the learning for each subject. That is something that we as teachers value, and we hope that more and more students have access to quality education. Finally, I wanted to end this synthesis by saying that overall, we as educators not also taught students a valuable lesson, and not only did they learn about daily routines and the correct use of simple present, but we also learned from them and this whole experience, and without a doubt, we feel much more prepared to face situations like this, when we might not only need to take our role as teachers seriously, but also to be prepared because education constantly evolves. There will always be education, but the ways to teach it, the methods, and the resources used to develop such education might change and transform. We had what we call a teachable attitude at all times, and this completely made this activity worth it.